While doing ethnographic fieldwork in 2013 in Slovakia, I found myself at a musical gem of Romani musicians where I experienced a very interesting moment. A keyboardist was asked to play tone B to help another musician, a bass guitarist, tune up his musical instrument. When he responded, there was a moment of confusion. It became obvious that the musician didn't play tone B, but tone G. He didn't mishear, he simply didn't know where B was located on the keyboard. Well, nothing really surprising if the musician were a music beginner, but that musician that night accompanied all of the songs well, flawlessly and with flair. Much later, I realized that this moment was a typical manifestation of a phenomenon with impacts throughout my ethnographic field and far beyond. The musician back then might have not known where tones and notes are located on the keyboard, but he knew something far more important to this music culture. He knew Romani chords. But first, let me briefly introduce my previous work upon which this proposed project is based. I started researching the music of Slovak Roma in 2013, at that time focusing on the question of Romani musical enculturation, that is, how Roma grow into their musical culture. I set about questioning the famous myth that Roma have music, so to speak, in their blood. I investigated and described the unique system of musical teaching and learning that gives rise to these supposedly inborn musical skills. Later in 2017, I started exploring the professional musical craft of Slovak Romani musicians. I described how their professional musicianship works from the perspective of three theoretical approaches: theories of ethnicity, theories of economic anthropology, and impression management theories. Returning to the question of Romani chords, Romani chords can be seen as a distinctive harmonic language of Slovak Roma. It is a musical feature with which Roma spice up their music and something they consider a root of their entire musical culture. Romani chords stand at the intersection of all the topics just mentioned. They are like the tip of an iceberg, reflecting various features of Romani musical culture and in fact the culture and society of Roma as a whole. Firstly, Romani chords can be approached through theories of impression management and ethnicity performance. They are an enactment of Romani ethnicity in music. It has been shown that Roma often consider their chords as a musical feature that markedly differs from the musical interpretation of non-Roma as something typically Romani, something that Roma proudly consider but their own.
Jo, toto jsou ty cigánské postupy.
Secondly, Romani chords are a reflection of professional music-making practices. Many Romani communities have had this professional relationship with surrounding non-Romani majorities for centuries, and Romani chords are an important part of the skills that Romani musicians need to master to perform their professional craft successfully.
Když budu hrát na zábavě pro 200 lidí, pro 300 lidí a zahraju sérii čardášů, tak si myslím, že v ten daný moment, jo, v té zábavě a tak dále, nikdo z těch hostů, tanečníků nepostřehne, jestli zahraju teču mi dav, páno můj, anebo teču mi dav. Nepostřehne to nikdo, protože ta rytmika tam zkrátka jede, funguje, jsou v úletu, tancují a hotovo.
Thirdly, Romani chords are a consequence of specific enculturation, growing into music, and transmission, that is how Roma transfer their musical skills across generations and among their peers. Romani chords are a fundamental element both for growing musical knowledge and passing it on.
Ešte tí starí cigáni nám vysvetľovali, že aký je to akord. Už vtedy vedeli, že akord, ale z nót nikdy v živote nehrali, ani to nepoznali, ale už akordy vtedy poznali, že povedzme, keď to bolo, ale už úplne tí starí cigáni, tí hrali naozaj podľa sluchu. Kde položili prst, tak stade hrali.
Fourthly, Romani chords are an example of musical knowledge that is transmitted with the help of vision. It seems that Roma acquired their chords with the help of visual references, that is looking at how fingers on a musical instrument are configured for each chord. This is further strengthened through the kinesthetic experience and haptic memory. In other words, as Romani musicians in Slovakia say, pozerať sa na prsty, that is looking at the fingers of the other musician, is the most natural way to learn a musical instrument. The last and most important question regarding Romani chords is how Roma conceptualize, understand and theorize their chords. While in music studies, chords are usually approached through theories in which particular notes are linked together by mathematical relations, it seems that Romani musicians have their own ways of understanding. These conceptualizations and theories grow from Romani musical aesthetics and folk knowledge that has been passed on for many generations. They are a part of what Roma proudly consider their cultural heritage, and they are a factor in musical and ethnic self-determination.
Takže to romský v každém Romu je. Jo, pořád tam zůstane, pořád tu šesku, ať chce nebo nechce, tak pořád ji tam slyší a stejně ji tam dá.
Oni ty naši Romáci, a když budou hrát dorovou písničku, jo, tak to bude znět jak mou. Rozumíte? Nebo to má v sobě zakořeněný. To není, že prostě, že to je jako naučený, nebo něco. Oni se s tím narodili takhle.
So now that we know what Romani chords are and what perspectives can be taken to explore them, what are the best methods to untangle all these mysteries hidden beneath the tip of the iceberg? In 2019, I did pilot research among several Romani accordionists in Slovakia. I looked at the phenomenon of Romani chords as three distinct types of data. Firstly, sonic data, extracted in the form of MIDI directly from a specially adapted musical instrument. Secondly, visual data, gathered with the help of video. And finally, ethnographic data, information retrieved from interviews with the musicians.
A učil tě někdo tady ty akordy?
To zůchama.
Zůchama. Ani tě někdo neukazoval, ani nikoho se neukazoval.
This innovative approach, which involves these three types of data treated as one complementary dataset, has led to intriguing insights and proved a robust and holistic way to look below the tip of the iceberg. For instance, look at this Romani chord that the accordionist Zolo from Klenovet showed me. A theorist trained in Western harmonic practice may have difficulty choosing an appropriate name for such a chord, even more so as Zolo did not indicate what the root of this chord was. The note A is doubled. The chord lacks a third degree, or a fifth when look at it as rooted on F, and it features the dissonant interval of a minor second. Yet, in Zolo's performance, such a chord has its place and even a name, a dimensovani chord. So to sum it up, the proposed project is the first bottom-up case study anywhere in the world dedicated to the topic of Romani chords. It is rooted in a topic of clear local significance, but it interweaves several threads of contemporary academic debates, and it will enrich the global research communities of ethnomusicologists, anthropologists, music scientists and Romani studies scholars. The project also aims to be an important step toward preserving the European intangible cultural heritage of Roma, an ethnic minority which is neglected and marginalized in many countries of the European Union to this day.